games. It's ScrubGames. Drop a like, drop a sub, go ahead and subscribe to ScrubGames. Drop a like, drop a sub, go ahead and subscribe to ScrubGames.
How's it going, Scrub Gamers? Welcome back to another video here at ScrubGames, and today we have the next lot of spoilers. It has been a little bit since I did the last one, but how we're going to go over the next lot of spoilers we've got since the last video and see what new things we've got, because we've got a load more leaders and a load more cards to have a look at. So let's get into it. Before we do, feel free to like, comment and subscribe to keep updated with my videos as and when they drop. And also by clicking that notification bell, you can get alerts when my videos do drop, so you can watch them there and then, or at a later time that suits you best. So with that out of the way, let's get into it and see these new Secrets of Power reveals. So, diving in with the leaders, we've got the first one being Leia Organa. So we've got a Heroic Vigilance Leia Organa. She is Leia Organa of a Secret Bloodline. And she's quite interesting. She's got New Republic trait and official. There's got to be, I think, quite a few official leaders or official characters in the in terms of leaders in this set, because it's Secret Power is all about the political side of Star Wars, and she seems quite interesting. So she is a heroic and vigilance leader. She has the New Republic and official traits. So I think the official one would be benefit, like you'll benefit from the official trait in this set. The New Republic, I'm not so sure of. There's not going to be much support, I think, for that. And she's got an action which is the same on both sides, just it changes with the cost and trigger. So in the leader area, it is an action whereby you need to pay 1 resource and tap her to trigger this. Whereas when she deploys, she just needs to attack and do the same thing. Now, she deploys at 6 resources, so not too late, not too early either, but it comes out as a 4/6, which is pretty respectable stats. Pretty good stats, good amount of power and good amount of health to keep her alive. And her effect is simply using the new disclose mechanic. So that disclose, what that is essentially you reveal cards in your hand that show certain aspects, and then basically trigger the effect. So for Leia, it requires you to disclose either a vigilance, command, aggression, cunning, or heroism card. So reveal a card in your hand as one of those 5 aspects, which is a lot of aspects, so anything but ability. And well, it doesn't need to have ability, but it could have ability on it as long as it's got one of those aspects on. And so that means it's got the flavor text, the reminder text, which is reveal the card in your hand with this aspect icon. And if you do that, you get to give an experience token to a unit that does not share an aspect with the disclosed card. Now, the good thing about having 2 aspects is you normally have a third aspect with the base. So if you have an aspect that isn't vigilance, then normally you're going to have something covered either way to make sure you're giving something and buff. And like I said, her effect is the same on the leader side when she's deployed, but now she just needs to attack. But the nice thing about the on attack is she doesn't say other card, she says give an experience token to a unit, not an other unit, so she can give it to herself. So essentially you can swing, disclose a card that's not, that's a aspect that's on your base and not her, that's not vigilance or heroism, and then buff herself up. So she can buffing herself is really nice. It's something that that Tarkin didn't do back, but we've seen Snoke do in the last set. So it's pretty cool for that. And it's quite an easy way to buff it. It's got no limit cap like on Obi-Wan, where you just can't buff anything once it's buffed, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure how great it's going to be, so she does have the official trait to benefit from those, and it is a really cool ability, but paying 1 to do this means you have to have resources behind, and she doesn't play too quickly. So I'm not sure. It seems pretty cool, really interesting leader, but I'm not sure how competitive it's going to be. And then we have the other of the vigilance leaders. So we've seen 3 vigilance leaders, 1 being the starter deck, 1 being Palpatine. So we have the other of the heroic one, so we're still missing 1 villainy one, and that is Satine Kryze, standing on principles. So she is a new Mandalorian leader. She's a Mandalorian and official because she's the ruler of Mandalore. If you've seen Star Wars Clone Wars, she's in that. And she comes down to 5 resources, so not too early, but early enough. That's pretty nice. And she comes down with 0 power and 8 health, so absolutely no power and 8 health. But she does come and restore 4, so she's quite a simple leader. When she deploys, she comes down and has restore 4, so she can heal 4 from your base. But she swings for no damage, but has a lot of health at 8. And her ability in the leader area is an action where by tapping her, you get to heal up to 2 damage from a unit. So healing a unit was pretty cool, but if you do, you deal that much damage to your base. Essentially, you're healing units up, but damaging your own base. So you're taking damage where on the part that determines if you're going to win or lose the game, because damaging the base is how you win any game in Star Wars. But then when she's deployed, she can start healing the damage off base after protecting your units. So that's pretty cool. Nice little healing, protecting your units, but then restore 4. So she does have some nice synergy with things like the Dark Saber. Put that on her and make her then from a 0-8 to a 4-11, which is available to any aspect combination. You don't have to play command to put this in, because Dark Saber ignores the aspect penalties, or aspect penalty if it's put on a card that is a Mandalorian. So you can put on her and she's a Mandalorian, you put on 4 no matter what aspect you've got as your base, and then make it start hitting and also buffing your Mandalorians to keep their Mandalorian focus. So she's pretty cool. Restore 4 is a lot of heal. We've seen like restore 3 on leaders like Rey, so that's pretty good. Having no power, you can always buff it up with upgrades and stuff like that. But yeah, restore 4 is pretty nice. So she's pretty cool, pretty interesting. Like, I'm looking to try her out with the Mandalorian stuff when you can like throw Dark Saber on things like that. But when it comes to rotation, not sure, because we're going to lose Dark Saber and things like that. So it'd be interesting to see what else we get for her. But she does look really cool, and she does look like a leader that I want to test out and seems pretty interesting. Next, we move on to the command leaders. So we haven't seen a command leader yet. So we've got some revealed this week, well, recently. This is the last one. So we've got Colonel Yularen. So this is why we plan. So he is he was an admiral in the Clone Wars, and then he stayed on with the Empire when it got corrupted and changed, because he was none the wiser really of what happened. But yeah, he is Colonel Yularen, a 5 deployed leader. Comes down at 4-6 as the Imperial official, so benefit from the Imperial trait, which is really good, and the official trait as well. And 4-6, pretty respectable. This is a little bit different than the like leaders that we've had like Han 2, which had the stats of 3-6. He's just 4-6. He's a little bit stronger than those ones, but still not too bad. Like 6 isn't the best amount of health, but at least he's out of the way of things like takedown, which is cool. So he is, well, he seems like a new Leia, like an Imperial Leia, really. Not Leia like the one we've just recently seen from this set, but the one from like set 1. So it allows you to attack and then attack with something else after, but it's a little bit different to Leia, so not exactly, but it's the same thing with like being able to attack 2 attacks in 1 action, so nice good action efficiency. So deploying a 5 resource is pretty cool. It deploys soon enough, but not too soon, but soon enough really. And his action in the lead area is by tapping him. You can attack with a unit, then you may attack with another unit that costs less than it. So attack with a certain cost unit, and then attack with something that costs less. And when he is deployed and attacks, his effect triggers then, so it's kind of same thing, well, almost similar thing. But now is when this unit completes an attack, so he needs to attack and survive that attack. So if you attack this unit, you need to survive the battle with that one. You may attack with another unit that costs 4 or less, so different kind of skill. Where now you're still attacking with 2 units in 1 action, just you have to attack with him as one of the attacking units. And then it's a 4 cost or less if you attack with after. So this could make for a pretty aggressive leader, aggressive deck. It's pretty interesting to see, but yeah, he does swing quite hard, and you've got some cool Imperial stuff. Maybe you could go for some nice Imperial aggro. Then we have another leader, another official. And I wonder if all leaders in this are official. I don't think they are, but I don't think they are, but you have a lot of official leaders in this set by the looks of it. So we've got Mon Mothma forming a coalition. So she's pretty interesting, and she seems similar to leaders like Hera, where you can ignore the aspect penalties on certain cards you play. So like play more of like a rainbow deck, like that, with how Hera ignored her effect was ignore the aspect penalty on Spectres. Mon Mothma is kind of similar to that, but on officials. So, whereas Hera could play more than her standard card pool by having the Spectres, no matter what the aspects are, included in it. So, like a unit. So, all the cards with Spectre in their traits could be played in that deck with no worry about the aspect penalty. She does exactly the same thing, but with officials, because her effect on the leader area, and both when she's deployed as well, is ignore the aspect penalty on non-villainy official units in play. So that means you can play any official unit with her in the deck, as long as it doesn't have villainy trait. So if it's a non-villainy official unit, or official unit, it's not official class, I don't think there are official events or upgrades, but official units, you can play any of them you want in your deck, as long as they're not villainy. So that's pretty cool, so it gives you access to any, and it knows the Asper Plenty on all aspects they have. So if you want to play, if you're basically playing your, green-blue, for example, you can still play red officials and yellow officials, as long as they're not a villainy, without worrying about the Asper Plenty. So this gives you access to even ones that are double aspect as well. Like there's a set, I can't remember if it's set 2? I can't remember if it's set 2 or 3. The chances like right hand, like he's a double green card from I think set 3. You can play him in here without no aspect penalty because you don't have to worry about the second green aspect, which is cool. So that's what her ability gives you on the leader area. But both sides, she's got to keep it going when she's deployed. She comes down at 5 resources, respectable, at 3-5, which is really good. We've already seen that on the leaders before. A 3-5 on 5, 3-7 on 5 is really good. She's got Republic and official traits, so nice benefits there, both with the Republic trait already having benefits, and the official trait getting more support for this. And then her effect when deployed, alongside her allowing you to play any officials in your deck, is each other friendly official gets extra 1 health. So that's pretty sick. So this is probably what could have been on Rex, allowing, like, this kind of does feel like this should have been on Rex, allowing you to play any like all clones in your deck, no matter what the penalty, like play all clones, ignoring the Asper penalties. It should be on Rex, as well as like him giving the buff to all your troopers. Same thing where she's buffing up instead of troopers, buffing up official cards, and you can play any number of officials in your deck, which is really cool because there's some really nice new officials we're getting, and there's some pretty good old ones as well. So she looks pretty cool, and yeah, I'm looking forward to trying her out because I do like these leaders that can play more than the normal card pool due to effects like that. Next we have another red one, so we've got one of the Heroism red leaders. We've got Lutheran Rail. So he is, Lutheran Rail, don't you want to fight for real? And he is a new rebel leader, so he's a 5 deploy, 2/7 rebel leader, so not too bad with stats. 2 powers is a bit low, but then it's got a good amount of bulk to keep him around. And there's, as we've seen from like the beginning of the game, there's a load of good rebel support. Not when we rotate, but then until we rotate, it's got a good amount of rebel support. So he's got an effect, and it's the same on both sides, just a different. There's effect is exactly the same on both sides. Just there's the restriction leaves when you do deploy. So when the effect is when attacking with when a friendly unit is attacking. When a friendly unit is defeated while attacking, as the trigger for the cost of trigger for both sides, you may on the leader area, you may exhaust this leader, and if you do, deal 1 damage to a unit or base. So if you attack your opponent's unit and your opponent dies in the process, you get to deal damage to a unit or base. But when you're deployed and out about with the rest of the units, that effect then becomes you may deal 2 damage to a unit or base. You can start literally bombing your opponent's units and then damaging their base in the process as well, while trading and losing your units to your opponents. So it kind of goes in with like how he is in Andor. There's a lot of Andor leaders, which is pretty cool. So pretty interesting leader. I'm not sure how great it is, but it is one of your common leaders. Like most of the time when it comes to it, the rare leaders are a bit more competitive, whereas it's more like the common leaders generally for like tailored drafting as well. It's a pretty interesting leader, and it'd be nice to see like what we get to support and help it with this. Then we come into some more cunning leaders. We've got Slymore as one of the villainy cunning leaders, and she is never official, but she's also a Force Imperial, so never Force leader, Slymore, and also Imperial benefits as well. So nice benefits from both the Force Imperial and also from official as well. So good traits to have benefits from. Slymore, Cipher in the Dark. She is a 5 deploy leader. It comes out as a 3/6, so not too bad. 5 cost, 3/6 is pretty standard. Like we've seen that on leaders before. Not the best in terms of stats, but still pretty good. And she's all about exhausting, like kind of goes with the aspect cunning of exhausting. So when she's in the lead area, her action is by paying 1 and exhausting herself. If there are 4 or more exhausted units in play, create a spy token. Now, early in the game, that's going to be pretty hard to do, pretty difficult to pull off unless you dedicate yourself to it, and it doesn't seem like paying 1 for a spy token, which is a 0/2 that game has raid 2, so you get almost a 2/2 only when attacking. It's pretty good value, but to have the trigger of being 4 more exhausted units in play is not the best. But when she is deployed, her on attack then completely changes, because some leaders do this, where their effect doesn't just become a better version when they deploy, it becomes exactly like a different kind of effect. And her attack is now, well, her effect is now, it's on attack, you may deal 2 damage to an exhausted unit. So she's still dealing with exhausted stuff in some capacity, but now it's still 2 damage to an exhausted unit whenever she attacks, so you can kind of finish things off. So she it's like kind of stepping into aggression, but in cunning. So pretty interesting leader. Nice to see whatever support we get. And being a force leader, it's got some cool stuff that you keep on from even free rotation from Legends of the Force. But I'm just not sure how great she'll be, but she's got some really good traits. And then we have the last leaders, and that is C3PO being our other cunning heroism leader. So C3PO is pretty interesting, being a new leader. It's like an interesting choice of leader, C3PO. But the art is pretty, I reckon the art's pretty cool. Like, the art does look pretty nice, so it'd be nice to get this in hyperspace. Like, hyperspace just highlight it a bit more, especially with the kind of cool background he's got. And he is a new 4 deploy leader, so we haven't seen, well, we saw that in, well, no, we've seen Dedra have that, so a second 4 deploy leader, which I don't think any other sets had 2. No, I think they have, because we had Kazuda and Von Reg in set 4, so we had a set with 2 4 deploy leaders, so pretty nice one. And being a rebel droid has some benefits. It's not too much in terms of droids. There are some droid cards, but then rebel is a good supporting aspect, especially for an early pawn leader, maybe quite aggressive. And his effect's quite interesting. So he's a 4 deploy leader that comes down as a 1/6, so only 1 power, which is pretty low, but 6 health for a forward cost. Is similar stats, because on most 4 cost leaders, they have the 7 amount of stats across their effects, and normally, like Sabine is a 2/5, and so I think Kasuda's a 2/5 as well. So being a 1/6 is still in theme with that. We've had things like Azaj Ventress being a 3/4, so still 7 cost stats between the power and health. So pretty decent in standard with that. But when he's in the lead area, his effect is an action, where by paying 1 and tapping, if you control an exhausted unit, Now, to me, that doesn't seem that great, mainly because the fact that if you don't already have an exhausted unit, which, remember, when you start the turn, if you claim initiative, start the turn, everything untaps. You won't have anything exhausted. So that means you got exhaust something by either attacking or playing something, which then gives your opponent to use or attack with make use of a unit they got inactive that you want to tap down by using it. Which means if they've got no other units to tap down, you basically can't now pay 1 to do it, and it becomes a bit pointless. So having to control exhausted unit to exhausted unit is not great. It gives your opponent a chance if you don't have anything already. If you tap something down, then it doesn't seem great. But when he is deployed, his effect then becomes just on attack. If you control another exhausted unit, you may exhaust the unit. So once again, same kind of thing, but now you have to pay, at least you don't have to pay 1 for it. I have to pay 1 for it, just doesn't feel great. But now having to attack to do it is not too bad. But the main thing I like about this is you've got some benefits. Like you've got, I think it's Polymotto, or Mollypoto, I think it is a 2-cost aspectless card from set, I think 4, which is a 1/4, 2-cost that on attack, you give an experience to a vehicle or token or a droid. So having that along with Babu Frick, you've got some good droid support there, which seems pretty cool. So I'm interested in trying it out, kind of building around to make a cool droid focused deck with him, just to see if that'll work, just for a fun casual deck. But outside of that, it doesn't seem that great. So we finished off with the leaders, and now we're going to look into the clever character sets. We'll start off with Villainy. Start off with Villainy and then go into Heroism and then normal cards for each aspect. We're going to start off with Vigilance for the first aspect to look into. So the 2 new Villainy cards we've got for Vigilance are a legendary and a rare in Kylo Ren's Command Shuttle and Emergency Powers. Now, Kylo Ren's Command Shuttle is a 4-cost 3/5 space unit that has an effect where each friendly ground unit with Sentinel gains 2 power. So this could be good with that new turret we got in the recent set, which is a 3/5 on same stats, same cost. That is a Sentinel that can use the Force to take less damage. But then this does seem in theme with the Kaido leader from last set, because that is a Sentinel inherently when it deploys, so giving it an extra 2 health. But it doesn't seem that great a unit. Like it seems like a pretty bad legendary, not a great one, but it could be more better. Like at the moment with what we've got with from sets 1 to 6 doesn't seem great, but maybe when it comes to rotation, then it could be better. Then we've got a 1-cost event in Emergency Powers. This is a new Law event, and Law does get a good benefit from this set. And you've got the effect of it being choose a non-leader unit and pay any number of resources. For each resource paid this way, give an experience token to a chosen unit. So it feels like Force Lightning in terms of you can pay more resources than its actual cost, and being a very cheap cost as well, to get a better benefit than usual. And be able to use this to just buff up. You can play out, have a unit out, then pay 1 to just basically buff up massively is pretty strong. Like be able to just turn a unit that seemed like it was just not too bad, like not really a threat, into a huge threat, could be a huge problem especially when rotation happens, we lose a lot of good removal cards. It could be very difficult to deal with a unit that's then buffed up massively by this. Then onto the Heroism cards, we've got these three. So first of all, so being Populist, Advisor, Cassie Andor being a Never Legendary, and Chandrillion Sponsor. Still, we've got Populist Advisor being a 1-cost 1/4, and has the effect of when an enemy unit deals combat damage to your base, this unit becomes a Sentinel for the phase. So first time they deal combat damage to your base, he becomes a Sentinel, and that's a 1/4. It's not too bad for turn 1. And for things like Ray, you can buff him up as well. For a 1-cost 2/4 to a 2-cost 2/5, that can potentially become a Sentinel, and then up to a 3/7 after that. No, 3/6 after that. And then we got Cassian being a 2-cost 2/2 fringe unit. Not even a. Well, I think this is before he becomes a rebel. Yeah, before he joins the rebellion, when he's on the run in the series. So makes sense why he's fringe. And while this unit is defending, the attacker gets -2 power, so it means you have to do 4 damage to him in 1 hit to take him out from an attack. So that's pretty cool. And if an enemy card ability would deal damage to him, you prevent 2 of the damage. So unless they can do 4, once again, unless you can do 4 damage to him by an effect, you can only do 2. Like you're not going to do enough unless you're doing minimum 4. So pretty interesting, pretty cool for a turn 1. Be able to like a bit more sticky in a different way, but don't really like the legendaries being cheaper cost. You can't like 2-cost stuff, because it just means it just makes them like more expensive than they need to be, and most of the time you're playing more early turn units than that. So like this is normally going to be required 3 of, whereas like sometimes you get bigger units that you don't need as many. But if you get a lot of legendary 2 costs and things like that, it's going to like increase the price of the deck, not being great. And this is a pretty good card, but then it doesn't really have many benefits with like traits, but it does seem pretty cool. But then you've got ways to get around it by like effect minusing as well. It's a nice way to just get around this quite easily. And then with Chandrillion Sponsor, I think I'm pronouncing it right, if not, correct me, is a 2-cost 2/3 with Restore 2. So nice early turn 1 unit. Restore 2 gives kind of help against aggro vibes, which is pretty cool. Then we got Populist Champion, Senator Chuchi, and Coronet. Or Coronet. So we've got the Populist Champion just be a simple 3-cost 3/5. That you might be thinking, we've got this is a 3-cost 3/5. We've already had units that are 3/5 for free. That have effects and stuff. Like you've got Cassian Andor, you've got Boba Fett, and those are like legendary and rare, but they've still got effects and stuff like that, which is just a common one. But then we also have had cards like this. Like we had the, I remember it was a yellow one. I can't remember. I think it was Heroism, but the yellow one, because I remember it was played in Han, and that was also a skillless one. So there have been skillless ones like this. Just having good solid stats is not too bad. And then we got Senator Chuchi being a 3-cost 2/5, but restore 1. And on attack, you give a friendly official unit Restore 2. There's not. This feels a bit like a Yaddle for officials to be able to have her own restore, and then give everyone's restored like a restore 2, like restoring as well. The Yaddle gives it to all your ever Jedi's, whereas she gives it to one ever a friendly official, because restore 2 we maybe get better in the long run than Yaddle's just restore 1 on all your Jedi. It's pretty cool, and some good benefits for the official and the public as well. It's pretty nice. And then you got Coronet, being a 5-cost 4/6 Mandalorian ship. And it's got Restore 1, and each ever friendly unit gives Restore 1. So if you have this down, which you can play on the turn that Satine deploys, to make it turn from Restore 4 to Restore 5. So heavily hitting, like heavy Restore stats in Satine, which is cool. And Satine can even get this, like keep this healthy by using her effect as well to take damage off it onto the base instead. It's pretty cool there. And then for the last heroic one, we've got Jade Patrol Squadron, being a 6-cost 6/6 Space Sentinel, which is pretty cool. And then we got some go into the normal Vigilance ones. We got Lobot, being a 2-cost 0 for Fringe unit. That's a Sentinel, and also has Grit. So he's a Sentinel, meaning you have to get through him, but he does no damage back. But then the more he takes damage, the stronger he gets, which is pretty strong, pretty solid, pretty nice. You also got Bar Dotton Orin Fopter, which is a 4-cost 3/4 space unit, where when played you can disclose a vigilance aspect on a card in your hand. And if you do draw a card, so you can basically put when played, is you show your opponent a vigilance card in your hand, and if you do, you draw cards. Pretty nice, pretty interesting, nice little card draw. Do like those kind of card draw things, and not too bad stats for its cost. Could be better, but could be worse. And then some more Vigilance cards. We've got Rotunda Senate Guards, Congress of Malastare, and Nalase. So Nalase making herself appearing as a unit this time, so leader. We haven't seen her since Set 3. And you got Rotunda Senate Guards, this is a really good one, like a really nice one. So the 4-cost 4/5 for Republican Trooper, which is not too bad on the traits, but then while this unit is undamaged, so first time it hits play, it gains Sentinel. So it's a Sentinel, but then as soon as it's damaged, it's not Sentinel anymore, but it still then hits something for 4 damage that's attacked into it. And it's very solid stats, because we see that on like Kanan and Quinlan, so really solid stats for its cost. You got Congress of Malastare, a 5-cost 5/5, which is a Republic official, and the first upgrade you play each phase costs 1 less while you have him on board. So it's a way to kind of play upgrades for a cheaper cost, which is pretty cool, and pretty alright stats for its cost. Standard 5-cost 5/5. And then Nalase is a 5-cost 4/7, where on attack you can disclose 2 vigilance aspects. You can do either on a single double blue card or 2 separate blue cards. And if you do, you get to heal 4 damage from among other units. So she can't heal herself because it says other units, but she can heal other units up by attacking as well. So pretty nice there. Partner her with Satine, and then you could heal Satine while Satine heals your base as well, which is pretty cool. Then the last lot of blue cards we have are Alderaan Envoys, Knowledge and Defense as our 3-cost event, and then Hyperspace Disaster as our 7-cost event. So Alderaan Envoys is even more restored. There's like a lot of restore in this, and it is a 6-cost 3/7 with restore. 6-cost 3/7 with restore 3 and Republic official. So a lot of restored there. Like essentially, that is the raid leader in a unit, which is pretty cool. And then onto the events, we have Knowledge and Defense being a 3-cost event, which gives -2/2 unit and draws your card. So it's a bit like the other cards we've got are similar to this. Like trying to think of what the card is now. One was upgrade, it gives -2/2 the rest of the unit. While we got the Make an Opening, I think it was, that was -2, but then you heal base by 2. But this is one that's the same thing, draws a card. So a nice similarity to some older cards that can stick around rotation, and nice benefit to draw card as well. I do like this because it helps you build some of those best units that are shielded on turn 1, or even units like Lurking Titan are difficult to get rid of, by getting rid of them and also drawing you a card, which is good for control. And then also Hyperspace Disaster, so a new 7-cost disaster event, simply defeats all space units. So it's a nice like board wipe for space units, which is pretty cool. It's a nice extra card. It's only a rare as well, which is pretty nice as well. So more removal, but more space focus, high cost. But then dealing with those space focus decks, you've got this for it now. So that's all blue. Now let's venture into command and see what we've got there. So venturing into command, we've got the first one being our Villainy and Heroism cards for command. So we've got Corporate Warmonging for our only so far new command, because we had a lot of command ones last time. So we got our like only command Villainy card from the new lot of reveals, and it's a 4-cost event where you can give a friendly unit plus 3 for this phase, and give each other friendly unit plus 1 for a phase. So buff one unit by a little bit, and then buff everything else by an extra 1. So you buff everything but one more than the other. And then we got Figure of Unity being our first, I think maybe first legendary in command, and it's a upgrade. It's a 3-cost upgrade. It gives an extra 2/2 buff to unit. It can only be attached to, well, attached to a, you can only attach it to, I think you can only attach it, but attach it to a unique card, so you can only go on a unique card. And the attached unit gains, while this unit is ready, each other friendly unit gains Overwhelm, Raid 2, and Restore 2. So, pretty good rebel kind of focus, because you want to get a lot of rebels together to hit hard. And yeah, it gives a nice little buff, and it does stack on, I think, on things like no, I don't think it would stack on things like Apple Rancis. I can't remember what his name is properly, but free cost to give a 2/2 upgrade and give those benefits is pretty nice if you can make use of it. And if it's on a unit you don't really get attack with or attack last with, that's pretty nice. Then we got our first double aspect card, I think don't think we've had a double aspect card yet. No, we might have. I'm not sure actually. Otherwise, we've got Chancellor Valorum and also GNK Power Droid. So Chancellor Valorum being our a double green card, 5 cost, 3/7. It's pretty good stats for its cost. And when this unit completes an attack, you may disclose triple command, so either 3 cards with command or a number of cards where you have 3 command aspects among them. And if you do, put the top card of your deck into play as a resource. So our first ramp card in the new set. So a pretty nice one. Just be able to attack and ramp with your deck by just reading a few cards, and it needs to, it needs to complete an attack and survive. So it's attack and live that attack, and then can help ramp you. These are pretty cool. Then you got GNK Power Droid being a 2-cost 1 free. Now on attack, the next unit you play this phase costs 1 less, so a nice another way to kind of cheat things in, and you can kind of stack these with quite a few abilities, which is cool, and a nice new droid one as well. Then we've got the next lot, and we've got Darrow Commando, Vutun Pala, and Convene the Senate. So, Convene the Senate. So these are the new command cards we've got. And the last of our command cards, so we got a load of command cards last time, but we got a few this week, so we've only had a few extra ones shown. And Darrow Commando is a 3-cost 3/4 with Overwhelm, pretty standard Imperial Clone Trooper, which is pretty standard stats for a 3-cost, and Overwhelm, nothing too special. Vutun Pala is a new never legendary, and it's a 9-cost 7/7 Separatist vehicle capital ship. So new capital ship for Pierre and new Separatist for Dooku. And this unit costs 1 less for each. Let's have a look. This unit costs 1 less to play for each friendly droid unit, and each friendly droid unit may be exhaust to pay costs as if it were a resource. So that is pretty cool. So it gives you can play probably a droid focused build of, because you've got the Invincible as well in Pierre, and even Dooku. So you got like a nice droid focused version of like Dooku and Pierre now, if you use things like this. So you can cheapen this down a little bit by Dooku. You can play it on the turn he deploys, because you can play it, because it's a Separatist, you can play it with Exploit. So you can get off 1 unit, play it for 7 instead, and you've got Pierre, that's his name, I keep kind of blank there. You got Pierre as well, who can play it for 2 less when he's deployed, or 1 less if he's not deployed. And you can even play less from the more droids, so you can spam those droids out there, and you can use that with both leaders having access to the Invincible as well, because that's something you can cheat out a little bit quicker with both Dooku and Pierre as well, depending if you ramp. and that can help you get droids on the board as well, and you can find more droids, and those droids can even pay for the cost of things once this is out as well. So pretty cool legendary, and it'd be interesting to see some Dooku or Piet. Well, Dooku's going to rotate out, and Piet at least will stay around for some cool droid focus capital ship decks. That'd be interesting. Then you got Convene the Senate, and now this is a free cost event where you search the top 8 cards of your deck for up to 2 official units, reveal them and draw them, and then you create a spy token. So not only do you look for 2, get like basically +1 on this, but look at the top 8 for it, because you're quite deep in the deck for unofficial units. You also create a spy token, which is a 0/2, that also is an official card as well. So pretty interesting card, pretty cool one. Do turn 1 to make sure you get some cards out, and being a law card, you get some benefits from that. I think in the set we haven't seen them too much now. Those are all the command cards. Now let's move on to the aggression ones. Right, so with aggression, we're going to start off with the villainy side, and we've got these 3 being the villainy ones we've got, and we've got Imperial Occupier, Arinda Price, and Mirage Sikintel. I think that's how you pronounce it. But yeah, these are the units we've got. 2 rares and a common. So Imperial Occupier is a turn 1 unit, so a 2 cost 2/2, which when defeated creates a spy token as the Imperial Trooper trait. So nice little benefits from that, and nice that even if it gets defeated, you still keep a unit on board. So that's cool. You got Miranda Price being a new 4 cost 4/4 Imperial, where when defeated, you may defeat a never friendly unit. If you do, deal 4 damage to each enemy base. Now this one, anytime anybody probably sees a when defeated effect, they instantly think Throne, and that's pretty good. And with Throne, you can double trigger it, but then you do need to kill off 2 other units when it is triggered, so 1 for each when defeated, to then throw 8 damage at your opponent's base. And it might seem not much, but that can actually rack up, especially if you only need 8 damage. You do it might put in a lot of pressure on, because remember she can swing for 4, she does get the swing in, and then do 4 damage to your base, and you trigger that twice. Can be very devastating. So pretty interesting deck, lead card, and I'm looking interested in trying it out with Throne when it does drop as well. And then we got Mirage Sintel, being a 5 cost 3/7, a Separatist official, so a new Separatist in red. And while a friendly unit is attacking a damaged unit, the attacker gains Overwhelm. So that's pretty cool, because Overwhelm you kind of allows you to pierce damage through. So any excess damage you do to a unit that exceeds their health goes into your opponent's base, and having things like this is pretty cool. And even then, when played, you may deal 3 damage to undamaged units. That's the first time I think we've seen undamaged. I think it's the first time we've seen the word undamaged used on card. But yeah, being when played, we've ever seen ones normally a damaged unit. You can do the system amount of damage to a damaged unit. Be able to do 3 damage to undamaged, making you can't damage something that's already damaged, is pretty cool. And then we got our 2 heroic cards. We got a new card for those rebels out there, being a 1 cost 2/2 with hidden rebel, an official. So that's pretty cool. Rebel's functionary. So a nice extra rebel for those, as my buddy Biscuit said, was like 1 cost aggro, which is I'm not looking forward to, but is a thing. So being rebel and hidden mean it can't be attacked straight away. It's pretty cool. And then you got Luthen's Hallcraft, 5 cost 3/5. Oh, sorry, 5 cost 5/3. So not too bulky, but then with rebel vehicle transport. And when defeated, where you may choose an opponent and disclose 2 aggression aspects and a heroic aspect. And if you do, that opponent discards 2 cards from hand, so even more discard, which is cool, pretty interesting. Like when defeated, discard. You can even, you could try to put that in. For only get a double discard, but you've got to have an extra heroic card in your hand, whereas you would. Well, you don't play many, since Brawl is villainy, you won't have many heroic cards, so you can potentially do it and then get 4 discard, but then is it worth it to pay, 7 for it? Not too sure about that, but it's something. But then even then in Rebel decks, having a sort of Rebel spaceship that then when defeated makes your opponent discard 2 could be pretty sick as well. And he kind of goes in kind of theme with Luthen's leader, being if defeated gets to deal 2 damage to a, or damage depending which leader, if your leader is deployed or not, onto a opponent's base or unit. And then we got some just normal aggression cards. We got another Rebel, being a Reckless Rebel, a 1 cost 2/1 with Saboteur and a Reckless and Twi'lek. You got Crosshair, so a new copy of Crosshair, a 2 cost 2/3 unit, where on attack you may deal 1 damage to a never friendly unit. If you do, deal 2 damage to a defending player's base. So he can do quite a bit of damage if you can get a unit out with him. be able to, and this seems pretty nice with Super Laser Technician in a sense. You can play it crosshair turn 1, turn 2 play Super Laser Technician, then swing, deal damage to your Super Laser Technician to trigger it, and deal an extra 2 damage to your opponent's base as well. Swing for 4, plus trigger that ramp you played out as well. So pretty cool. A nice unique leader unit as well, being an Imperial Clone Trooper. Then you got AAT Incinerator, being a 5 cost 3/6 Imperial round vehicle, and tank. And when played, you can deal 1 damage deal 1 damage to each of up to 4 other ground units. And if no friendly units were damaged by this, ability, you deal 2 damage to your base. So yeah, you've got to damage your own unit to avoid taking, so when it comes out, you deal 4 damage to other ground units. You can't deal damage to yourself to other ground units. And if one of yours isn't damaged by this effect, you take 2 damage to your base. You can either do 4 damage to your opponent's units, or as many as you can that's not yours, and then take 2 damage to your base, or damage just 1 unit for a simple 1 and it triggered, which is pretty interesting. You need another unit to avoid taking damage yourself, but not too bad with stats, and could be good in Django in Eternal as well. The never new thing for that, which is going to be great. And into the last cards of the aggression, we've got Punishing 1, Let's Call It War, and Charge of Treason. So these are pretty interesting. We've got Punishing 1 being a new 5 cost 3/5, so not the best stats, but it gains raid 1 for every damaged enemy unit, which just feels like it goes with Django, or it's planned for Django again as well. It's an underworld vehicle and transport. And when played on attack, you may deal 1 damage to a unit. So you can already make it so it has at least a raid 1 by when played. Well, technically, have raid 2. You can play it, damage 1, and when you attack next turn, you damage a different 1, and then have a raid 2, which is pretty interesting. But not too bad, pretty interesting, pretty nice for a rare as well. But yeah, I just don't know about it really. But Let's Call It War is our new 3 cost event where you can do 3 damage to a unit. Then if you have the initiative, you may deal 2 damage to another unit in the same arena. So it feels like the grenade strike, but one extra cost on it. Does 1 extra damage to the first one and 1 extra damage to everyone. So it's like a 1 cost higher grenade strike, which is cool. But then relies on you having the initiative to deal the extra damage to the other unit. And then Charge of Treason, a 4 cost event, a law event as well. And you can disclose 2 aggression aspects. Imagine it's going to be 1 event for every aspect with this, a different law that shows double of the one aspect and shows a double of the other of the same aspect to trigger effect. And this is the effect of this is if you do disclose 2 aggression aspects, you get to deal 5 damage to your unit, which is pretty good. 4 costs to deal 5 damage is not the best, but it's pretty decent, especially when we rotate out of things like force choke and stuff like that. So those are all the aggression cards. So let's move on to the last aspect being cunning, and see if there's any single aspect cards as well. Right, so for cunning, we've got the first ones being our Villainy Cards. So we've got Screeching TIE Fighter, Trade Federation Delegates, and Grand Moff Tarkin himself. So we've got the Screeching TIE Fighter is a never good spaceship to have for Thrawn Yellow. Not Thrawn Yellow, sorry, not Vader Yellow, because it's a 1 cost 2/1, so never new weenie spaceship that's very susceptible to having low health. But on attack, you may choose a ground unit, and if you do, it loses keywords and can't gain keywords for this phase. So nice way to shut off your opponent's restoring other units like Yaddle and stuff like that, which is cool. And a new aggressive unit that's also Imperial as well. Then you got Trade Federation Delegates being 5 cost 3/5, so not the greatest stats, but then it's kind of balanced for that by having the 1 play creates 2 spiker tokens. So instead of just paying a simple 5 cost 3/4, you're technically getting 5 resources, a 3/4 vanilla essentially, and then 2 official tokens that have 0 power, 2 health, but in raid 2 to actually swing damage. So that's pretty interesting. Then you got Grand Moff Tarkin. Taking Krennic's achievement. It's a 6 cost 2/6, so not the best stats for the cost, but it's essentially a change of heart, but with a body, which is cool. So it's when played, take control of an enemy non-leader vehicle, but yeah, so change of heart for vehicles. So when played, take control of an enemy non-leader vehicle unit. When the unit leaves play, when this unit leaves play, that unit's owner takes control of that unit. So, okay, I misread that when I first read it. So it's essentially a change of heart, but they only get control of the unit back when Tarkin leaves play. So if Tarkin doesn't leave play and sticks around, then the owner gets their control unit back. That is pretty cool. So it means those big spaceships you can take control of just playing Tarkin and take control of them, and then they don't get it back until they kill Tarkin, which is pretty strong. That's actually a lot better. That's actually a really good rare. So I'm looking forward to that, and especially in things like Palpatine as well, or even Dooku, because you can technically use that and then sacrifice it off to get a Separatist and still have a unit. So it's pretty cool because it essentially is a change of heart for vehicles, but with a body attached to it, and they don't get it back at the end of the turn, so you can hold it off as long as they can't kill Tarkin, which is pretty interesting. So I do like that now. Then our last two our last Villainy one and our two heroic ones as well. So we've got No One Ever Knew, a new trick, so a brand new trick, 2-cost event, where for each friendly official unit you may exhaust an enemy unit, which you can probably do quite a bit depending on how many officials, and since the spy token is official, you can actually spam out quite a lot, and there's a lot of units in this set are official as well. Speaking of official, we got our two Heroism Cards being officials too, and we got Junior Senator and Rebel Propagandist. So Junior Senator is a 2-cost free 2. For one played, you may return an upgrade that costs 3 or less to its owner's hand. So upgrade, kind of temporary upgrade removal, which is interesting. And Rebel Propaganda is a free cost 2/4 that when played or when defeated gives a never friendly unit +1 power and Saboteur for this phase, which is pretty cool. So when played, gives something an extra 1 power and Saboteur, so you can attack with it and do the same thing when defeated, which is pretty interesting. And Rebel and Official gives you some benefits from both those aspects. Then venturing to the normal Cunning Cards, we've got A-Wing, Unruly Astromech, and Vel Sarta. So A-Wing is just once again another spaceship you can have for Vader as well. So a 1-cost 1/2 that has raid 1, so pretty good one, decent enough bulk, and then it can hit a little bit harder by having that raid 1 as well. Nice new addition, some nice new spaceships for Vader, which is going to be keep it around being the same aggro deck it is in rotation, which is cool. So nice deck to keep around for rotation. And then you got Unruly Astromech being a 3-cost free 2 with hidden, and when defeated you get exhausted enemy unit. So nice little way to really nice droid. Come down, protect yourself with hidden, and then if it does get defeated, you can exhaust one of your opponent's units. Then your opponent can maybe time around that. And then Velsafa, a new uncommon, a 5-cost 4/6, which is not too bad. 5-cost 4/6 for raid 2, and each exhausted enemy unit gets -2 power while defending. So that's pretty nice because it means that while clearing your opponent's units, if they're exhausted, you have a little bit of ease and more survivability by taking less damage while she's on board, which is pretty cool. Pretty solid stats for a cost as well, and pretty cool effect. Also, she's technically swinging it as a 6/6, which is what raid 2 as well. That's really nice. Then our last two of the Cunning Cards, last 3 of the Cunning Cards, we got another legendary in Sonara San, Harboring a Secret. We got Catch Unawares, and then also a new law in charge of espionage. So Sonara San, being a new legendary, is a 7-cost 7/7 underworld card with hidden, and on attack, for each friendly unit ready a resource. So if you've got a lot of units out, you're gonna be readying a lot of resources. If you haven't got many, you still get resources. You're gonna need to get some back. But at the very least, she's gonna always untap 1 when attacking because she has herself. Because it's for each friendly unit, not each other friendly unit, which is really nice. It's a pretty cool legendary, solid stats as well for her cost, and even hidden, keeping her protected when she comes down. Then Catch Unawares is a 2-cost event where when you can attack with a unit, and then defending it's -4 power for that attack, so attacking you take out a unit a little bit easier without taking too much damage back. Then Charge Espionage, this is essentially just looks like a rotation Spark Rebellion. This is a 2-cost event, and it's got the effect of you may disclose 2 cunning aspects, so either on 1 card or 2 card depending on what you show. But then if you do, you get a look at your opponent's hand and discard a unit from it. So it's not so much, thinking about it now, not so much a Spark Rebellion. It's more of just one of those other hand control cards, 2-cost events that can discard a card from your opponent's hand, like Spark Rebellion, but like a more watered down version. Because you still get a look at your opponent's hand, but then the only thing you can discard from your opponent's hand is a unit. But then most decks do play units unless you're up against hard control, where you can have very few units, and you get a original command. So that's pretty cool, pretty interesting, and a pretty nice card. If it just ripped anything, I thought it ripped anything, but I must have read it wrong for the first time I read it. So those are the Cunning Cards. Let's have a look at some of the Villainy and also some of the, well, some of the Heroism Cards as well. So the 3 Villainy cards we've got were Supreme Council Aid, I think it's Elia Kane, and FN's Trooper's Corpse. So Supreme Council Aid is a 1-cost 2/2, so never cheap unit you can play for like this aggro decks or Villainy aggro's anyway, first order and official. Then you got Elia Kane, which seems to be so I think she was, as someone pointed out, she is the, I don't remember what the unit's called now. The one that looks for smuggle. Scanning officer, that's it, scanning officer. She's the scanning officer in that green card. And then you've got another version which is similar to her for this now, in when she switches over to New Republic. She's an Imperial and New Republic. 4-cost 3/6, so solid stats. Raid 1 as well, which is pretty cool. And when played, you can look at the 3 enemy resources. You may defeat one of them. If you do, its controller puts the top card of their deck into play as a resource and readies it. So it allows you to look at your opponent's resource and maybe just defeat one of them. They get to replace it and then untap it as well. Play it and ready it, like re-resource a card from the top of the deck and ready it. So they don't really lose any resources from that active ones like you would hope to do. But you do get to like snipe out from your opponent's resources any smuggle or plot cards, which is pretty cool. Then the FM Trooper's Corps. You got the 5-cost 4/5, where when played, give an experience token to a never friendly unit, and is a new plot card as well. We haven't seen a plot card for this lot today. It's the first plot card we've seen in this, the spoilers for this one. So yeah, it's interesting. We haven't seen many. I didn't really notice that until now, but it's a pretty cool plot card. 5-cost that when played, give an experience token to a friendly friendly unit, or another friendly unit. So you'll be giving it to the leader you deploy with it, which is pretty cool. So I'm interested to see like any more plot cards, but this seems like a cool one, getting a pretty decent unit on board and also giving experience to your leaders while making it a little bit stronger, which is pretty cool. And then for the last amount of cards, we've got the last two, the last 3 being 2 heroic cards, being High Command Counselor and Grassroots Resistance, and then also I think our first aspectless card being Ando Commission. So High Command Counselor is a 2-cost 1/4 Revel unofficial, where while you control another official unit, this unit gains Raid 2. So you can play it turn 1, turn 2, play another official unit out, and now he's got Raid 2, so he has a 3/4, which is pretty strong. Feels a bit like Aura Sing, essentially, for just Heroes and Rebels. And then Grassroots Resistance is a pretty nice 4-cost event where you deal 3 damage for a unit and you deal 3 damage to a unit and then heal 3 damage to your base. So a nice bit of dealing damage to a unit plus healing from your base, which is not something you really see in Heroism. So maybe give some heroic control. That'd be nice. I would love a heroic control. Just it doesn't seem as not as easy or as strong as the normal like Villainy control. And then Ando Commission is simply a 4-cost 3/4 Sentinel. So a Sentinel you can play in every aspect, and a 4-cost for free. So that's it for today. So hopefully that's helped you. Hopefully you see some pretty interesting cards. Let me know what you think about some of the cards. You see what you're looking forward to, what you're not looking forward to, how you feel about the set. Get a bit of discussion going about these spoilers in the set, because so far it does seem like pretty cool cards. Like I'm not like my interest in this set is not there. Like I did like Andor, but then I'm more interested in like I grew up with the prequels as my Star Wars intro, and I love the Jedi and the Force kind of stuff. So like the politics and stuff is not really in my interest. But then, how do you feel about that? So that is it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next one. Bye for now.